Welcome, everybody. Welcome to our first ever live pop-up class with our beloved Chef Eric Silverman. There he is. Chef Silverman, thank you so much for doing this, and I won't talk for a long time. I just wanted to take a moment to welcome everybody, and maybe I'll stall with some light chatter while we have some people tuning in. Maybe they're having trouble getting on the live stream. While you're here and while I am stalling, I want to mention a couple of other things. First of all, our other shared time programs. If you're just here because you want to see Chef Silverman cook, that's great. That's exactly why I'm here, and he's a heck of a cook. I've eaten his cooking a lot of times. But please take a look at our other shared time programs on our website, www.mcts.edu. If you're in high school, you can take advantage of any of these great classes. Most of them are 2-year programs. You share the day between us and your home high school. And if you're in 8th grade and you do love cooking, please apply to our Culinary Arts Academy. All of these applications can be completed on our website, mcts.edu. Also like to remind you to check out all of our different social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Listen to our podcasts, The Principal's Office and the MCTS Experience on Google Play, Spotify, and iTunes. And tons of information is always available on our website. And without further ado, I'd like to hand it over to the great Chef Eric Silverman. Take it away, Chef, and thank you.
Hi, everyone. So like he said, I'm Chef Silverman. I am the shared time culinary instructor, so I predominantly work with the juniors and seniors from different home schools. We also work together as a team between Share Time and our Culinary Academy. So all of our instructors are hands-on with all of our students. So today, what I'm going to share with you is a little quick recipe. It's a good weeknight recipe or a good special occasion recipe. It's a pasta carbonara, specifically a bucatini carbonara. So this is a Roman pasta dish. There are four main Roman pasta dishes, and they all have some similar ingredients. So there is probably the most basic would be your cacio e pepe, which is a pecorino and black pepper based pasta. There's also the gricia, which is your same base, pecorino, black pepper. Then you add a guanciale, which is a cured pork jowl, similar to a bacon, but not smoked. You can also, from that, which we're going to make today, the carbonara, is if you take your gricia, which is your pecorino, guanciale, black pepper, and then you add eggs to it. So it makes a little bit more rich, creamier sauce. And there's also another version, tomato sauce. So if you have the guanciale, black pepper, some onions, white wine, and tomatoes, that's your amatriciana. So if you go to Rome, in the Rome area, you're going to see all four pastas on most menus, and they'll all be a little bit different. And I'm sure everyone claims that theirs is the best. So we'll go ahead and get started with today I couldn't get guanciale, so I got pancetta. It's a good substitute. And if you can't find pancetta, your best bet would just to be used an American bacon. Any type of pork fat to get in there will help. Definitely need it. All right, so we'll get started with this. I'm just going to grab a pan and just over a medium heat, medium to low heat. You don't want to get it too hot, or else you will burn your guanciale before the fat, or your pancetta before the fat is rendered. And you're going to want to add about 2 ounces. I have 4 ounces here, so I'm only going to use about half of it. We're going to get some of the fat out of this. I have my pan preheating behind me, so it's already ready to go. While this is browning and rendering its fat out, actually, I'll switch down to the cooking mode. Hopefully I don't catch my shirt on fire. I think this is a little bit better. Is that a better viewing angle? Can you see everything here? Good, good.
Yes.
So I have my pancetta just lightly rendering in here. So we're going to let that go. In the meantime, as that's rendering, I have my pasta water behind me, heating up. It's at a boil. So now we're going to make the base for our sauce. put my pancetta out of the way. And in that, we're going to just take a bowl, small bowl, and we're going to crack one whole egg. So one whole egg. And I'm going to do 2 yolks. Oh, piece of shell. So I'm separating some eggs. So 2 yolks. And I do have a little piece of shell. A good trick to get shell out is to use shell. Kind of wants to stick to it. If you try to use your fingers, it never works. You're just chasing it around the bowl. And I'm going to wash my hands really quick.
Charging battery.
All right, I'm back. So to our egg mixture, we're going to use some pecorino. So like I said, pecorino is the type of cheese that you're going to find in the area around Rome. It's going to be predominantly used. If you go a little bit farther north to Emilia Romagna, you're going to find more Parm or Parmesan cheese. And here I have maybe just a little bit over an ounce. So I'm going to add that. And we're going to whisk this together with just a pinch of, actually, you know what? Yeah, a pinch of black pepper. And this is fresh cracked black pepper. If you can see, it's a little bit coarser. If you do have a pepper mill, you can put it to its widest or most open setting just to get a little bit more larger chunks out of it. I'm going to give this pancetta. I'll just give it a little. I think some pancetta went in our eggs. I'm going to turn it up just a hair so we can further render it. I'm going to grab my whisk up our pecorino egg mixture. A lot of people will think carbonara will have a dairy product in it other than cheese. Will have cream or eggs, but it's just the creaminess is just from the eggs and cheese and the pasta water. And we'll talk about that a little bit later, how the pasta water plays into bringing this sauce together. And one thing, unlike the American style of how you might want to cook bacon, for the pancetta, you don't want to render it down till it's super crispy. You want it a little bit chewy still. So you want that pancetta to have a chewy, kind of toothsome bite to it, but not be rock hard or crunchy. It's not how you want it for this pasta. I'm going to turn my heat down just a little bit more. Whisk up my eggs and pecorino. So the big trick, or the big, rather, dilemma or problem is not cooking your eggs when you add it to your pasta. You don't want scrambled eggs. So we're going to temper these eggs once our pasta is cooked with a little bit of the pasta water. That'll bring some heat into the eggs. We'll actually add some pasta water into the pancetta, and we'll bring everything together. So I'm going to drop my pasta, and this is actually pasta that we made here with a pasta extruder. And I'll show that to you in just a few minutes. Let me cool my pan down a little bit. To shut off. So this is a bucatini. So a bucatini, I can even break a little piece off here, is a thicker spaghetti-like pasta, but I don't know if you can see, has a little hole in the middle. So that hole can catch sauces and lend, I don't know, I think a better mouthfeel. So we're going to drop, well, first we're going to salt our water. So I'm going to salt the water. Some people will say, like, for it to taste like seawater. I think that's a little extreme. You just want to season your water almost like you're seasoning soup. So I'll probably say for this, a couple teaspoons of water. You do want it to add some salinity to the pasta. You're also going to get saltiness from the cheese and the pancetta, so you definitely don't want to overdo it.
Chef Silverman, do you hear
Yes.
me, Chef Silverman? I have a question from a viewer.
Sure.
They were curious about what is your favorite pasta dish?
This is one of them. I do like all the Roman pastas, the ones I mentioned before: cacio e pepe, carbonara, amatriciana. I'm trying to think. I like a good ravioli. But I think I made this one because it is one of my favorites. That's why I chose to make it. So today, carbonara. Another day, who knows? In the summer, I probably wouldn't go with something as heavy as a carbonara. You could do maybe some seafood added to it, maybe a pesto in the summer. If you grow your own basil, it'd be a great addition. So I'm going to drop my pasta in now. And this, because we made it ourselves, isn't going to take too long to cook. If you do, you can find bucatini. Apparently, there is a shortage. I was talking to Mr. Orff earlier about there's a shortage of bucatini. So if you do find it, you can get it off the shelf in the grocery store. But we did make this ourselves. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a twirl just to make sure they're separated. And I'll show you the machine quickly. I'll come around. So I have it right next to us. So here's our pasta extruding machine. So we put the flour and water into this little hopper up top. I can even show you. So we dump our flour and water into the pasta maker. We mix it all up with this auger and extrude it through. Well, right here, you'd attach all the different types of shapes could come in here. We have one that's called creste de gallo that looks like a rooster's, we'll say crest. That's what it means, rooster's crest. You can have all different types of shapes for extruded pasta. Extruded pasta is going to be like your spaghetti, rigatoni, anything that's tubular and more robust. Anything that's flat is usually going to be a cut pasta, like a linguine or fettuccine, tagliatelle. Those are generally going to be cut with a machine. So it's a little fun toy that you get to play with if you come to our program. So I want to see how our pasta is doing. And everyone will tell you like tricks to see if when a pasta is ready. None of them really work. The best way is to taste it. You can try to time it. You could, whatever they say, throw it at the wall. The only way it's really you're gonna be sure is to taste the piece and see where it's at. For most pasta dishes, you're gonna want your pasta al dente, meaning to still have some bite, means to the tooth. For carbonara, you're not gonna finish it too much on the stovetop, meaning you're not gonna add it to the pan and cook it too much more. A lot of other pastas you're gonna wanna put in a saute pan, add your sauce, and continue to cook them. This one will kind of finish quickly, and you don't want those eggs to curdle. So you do cook it just a little, or at least I do, a little bit more. So here's our mixture. I'll show you once again. Here's our egg and cheese mixture. And we're really making with this is a light custard. So this pasta is coated in a light custard that's going to be thickened with the egg yolks in there. And we're going to try to get it to a heavy cream consistency. Heavy cream consistency. And I have my ladle here. If you look in front of me, one thing that we teach here is to get everything organized. I did have to run across to wash my hands, but generally you don't want to leave your station when you're cooking. This is for the restaurant industry or any other food establishment. You want to be organized, have all your equipment, and that's one thing we teach here. Right from the beginning, it's called mise en place. It's a concept where you have everything in its place so that you can cook, undistracted, uninhibited. I think most people at home who have failures do so because, they don't have their pan ready, they don't have their oven preheated, they don't have the pot holders ready. So if you can get rid of, especially when you're first starting, those little distractions and those little interruptions and setbacks, you're going to be able to dedicate more time to the food that you're cooking. So By teaching that, we're hoping that students can, focus right on the food. Beyond the mise en place, something that we really stress here is safety and sanitation. For all shared time students, the first thing that they'll learn is about Serve Safe, which is a certificate program that every restaurant in New Jersey needs at least one person on staff at all times to hold the Serve Safe Manager certificate. So there's two versions of Serve Safe. There's Serve Safe Food Handler, which is just a basic food safety course. But we go a little bit further and teach the Serve Safe Manager course, which that's the certificate that you need and that employers want their employees to have in order to operate safely and, underneath, the code set forth by the food, or rather the food codes. I could. I'm about to get cooking again. I'll just lean down, maybe. I'm going to test my pasta. It's probably just about done. So I just pick it up and I think it's done. It's done. I'm just going to put it off to the side. And I'm not going to drain it. That's where people make the mistake. Don't drain it yet. So I'm going to get my pancetta back up to temperature. You could drain it, but we're going to only do this I'm going to add this is 4 ounces or so of my pasta water in there. That's going to lift off any of those brown bits that are cooked to the bottom of the pan. We're going to reduce that down just a little bit. So that's 4 ounces, half a cup. So anyone who wanted to know, I did 1 whole egg plus 2 yolks, 1 ounce of cheese, which is probably about a half a cup of water, and 2 ounces, which is probably about a quarter cup of diced pancetta so far, and a half a pound of bucatini. If you're doing a whole pound, double the recipe. So my pasta water doesn't look great now. Pasta water and pancetta, but we're going to bring it all together. And now,
Chef Silverman,
yes.
it sounds like in the chat you're making more people hungry than teaching them. So
That's all right. That's good. Yeah, they'll keep their attention.
Exactly. Everybody's definitely hungry after watching this.
So if you look, I'm always looking at my flame too. You can't just put your flame on medium and say, all right, that's a medium heat. Each stove is different. This is a portable burner versus a stove that has 3 or 4 times that power. So you have to actually look at the flame and see where your heat is at. So that's a big challenge for a lot of new cooks to manipulate temperature correctly. So I'm going to put this in there. And I'm not bothering to get all this pasta water off of this because that's going to help thicken up our sauce. All right, we're going to add our eggs now. So this is where we're going to want to start to move our sauce and pasta so we don't overcook and make scrambled eggs. And I'll even take it off the heat. That's another way to manipulate your heat, is to take it on and off the flame.
Chef Silverman, I have another question from the chat.
Sure. Go ahead.
The question is, Chef, if you were using regular bacon, would you have to drain the grease? Great job.
No. So this is still, the one I used is the same product as bacon. It's a pork belly. It's just not smoked. American bacon is a smoked product. And you do want all that fat in there. I didn't drain mine, so I wouldn't drain yours too. What the consistency I'm looking for, I'm adding a little bit more pasta water, is like a heavy cream. The problem with this is if you have it to the consistency of a heavy cream in the pan, once you get it on the plate, it's going to thicken up and be too thick. So it's going to cool down and be kind of like gluey in texture. So I want it just a little bit looser than I'd want it on the plate so that when it cools, it doesn't turn into sludge. We don't want that. And this would be enough, well, I'd say for 2 like entree portions, maybe 3 appetizer portions, and we're just about there. Just the heat of our pasta and the pasta water, cooked our eggs. We have it to a heavy cream consistency. I'm going to add just a touch more pasta water. So I'll probably add about a cup, nearly a cup in total of pasta water. So not an underrated ingredient. You know, it is really part of this dish to have the pasta water make your sauce. And now this is really like a, you know, a fancy mac and cheese. So if you're a mac and cheese fan and you want to take it to the next level, you know, an adult grown-up version of mac and cheese. Not to say you need to have an adult version of mac and cheese. This is a little fancier version. All right, I think we're there. I'll leave this over here. So I'm going to plate it up, clean up my area so it looks nice. Turn off my heat so it doesn't make scrambled eggs. I have a plate right here. Move this out of the way. You can plate pasta with a fork. It's maybe a little bit more elegant way to plate it if you have a long like carving fork, but we'll use just tongs. I think most people have tongs at home. I'm still going to add a little bit more pasta water. So you can always adjust your consistency with that pasta water. And we'll bring it up high. I'll bring it low so you can see. Put it in the middle. Just give it a little swirl. So this would be a good like appetizer portion size. I have a little bit left in the pan, but that's okay. I'll clean it up with my towel. And I'll show you guys a little closer. So you have a nice creamy pasta, little bits of pancetta, enriched with egg, and really full flavored for only having, you know, 4 additional ingredients. So I guess now, well, I'll definitely taste it. I don't have a fork with me. That's the only thing I forgot in my mise en place is a fork, which is probably the most important thing. I'll eat it after. So if anyone has any questions, yeah, definitely, you know, you can reach out, type them in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer them. If not, no.
So yeah, we'll wait for a few more questions. I'll get Mr. Orphan here, and I'm sure he has something to say about this. So hold on one second.
I noticed one thing. I don't go into the parsley. You wouldn't get parsley on this. Maybe I wouldn't put parsley on this if I was doing an Italian style.
Chef Silverman, I unfortunately we have to stay socially distant here in our building, but I really want to
drop it off. I know you're right around the corner here.
Just put it next to my car, and I'll heat it up when I get home. Hey, I have a question actually that my wife just texted me. I don't know why she didn't put it in the chat, but is there a way to make this not vegan? Although I'm sure some of our listeners would be curious about that, but to make it vegetarian, would you just leave out the pancetta? Is that
leave out the pancetta. And
okay.
Like I said, there's those other 2 versions, the pasta cacio e pepe, which would have no eggs, just cheese and black pepper.
Okay.
So even less ingredients, and that's, you know, a really popular pasta dish right now. And the pungency and that kind of like a little bit of funkiness of pecorino really brings it to another level, and it is like a fancy mac and cheese. But the pork fat in this, definitely for carbonara, helps just flavor the whole dish. Because it's a cured pork fat, it's cured with spices and black pepper. And those spices and and the pepper gets into the fat of the belly. And when you render that down, you get that cured, spiced flavor that kind of perfumes the whole dish.
I really hope you can include this at next year's CTE lunch or
Yeah,
counselor.
sure. It's a really good dish for students to learn, not only because it's simple and you can make it with probably almost, you might have to run out and get it has so few ingredients. You don't have to run out and get 2 ingredients. Maybe you got bacon at home. If you have Parmesan cheese, you could definitely substitute that. Any other type of pasta, you can substitute that. It doesn't have to be bucatini. A lot of times you'll find it done with like a rigatone or a like the small rigatone called like mezze or mini rigatone. Trying to think of anything else that would be substitute. Like I said, you could substitute bacon. I'm sure there's a vegetarian out there that makes it with maybe shiitake mushrooms.
Ooh.
I'm sure it would be good. It would be kind of, when you mess with Italian dishes, now you're starting to get on a new dish. So that would be like a pasta with pecorino and mushrooms. You couldn't call it carbonara.
Gotcha.
But
Gotcha.
I'll be fine if you did.
That's wonderful. Mr. Sikowski, if there's no other questions in the chat, I think we'll let Chef get to eating.
Yeah, I think we are good and right on time as well.
Yeah, nice job. Chef, you made that whole dish in like 22 minutes. That was amazing.
Yeah, I planned it. That's why I made this dish.
It
wasn't just by accident.
That's why we pay you the big money, sir.
That's right.
So, folks, tune in next week because and we'll keep your eye on our social media and our website and all those other places for a link to another one of these, another pop-up class where we're going to have our equally beloved Mr. Birdsall from the Horticulture and Turf Care Management class. He is a professional landscaper and a great business mind and an outstanding teacher. And he's going to show you a whole bunch of cool things that he does in his class. So stay tuned for that next week. The following week, Mr. Park from the Auto Tech program will be involved and lots of other pop-up classes coming your way. So stay with us. And in the meantime, go to our website, mcts.edu. You can apply. You can get all kinds of information about the school there. So please do stay with us and stay tuned and keep looking.
One thing I would say, if anyone out there wants to arrange a day to come visit to see if they'd like the program, you can reach out to a guidance counselor and they can set you up so that you can visit my class virtually. And then when we're in person, you can actually come and visit for a day in person and kind of see if we're a good fit for each other, if you like the program, if it's something that you're interested in, or if you have brothers and sisters who might be interested in the program,
That is absolutely true. Guidance counselors are the very best people to talk to about this stuff, folks. And that's whether you're in 8th grade or in high school. Either way, they can hook you up. There's that website again, mcts.edu. And absolutely talk to your guidance counselors about a visit. So until then, I think I'm gonna sign off and wish everybody a great afternoon. Happy cooking. Big thanks to Chef Silverman, and come see us anytime. mcts.edu.
All right, we'll see you guys. See you next time. You can let me know what you want to cook.